Let me tell you something most people will never admit. You're trying to control too much, every step, every outcome, every little twist and turn, and because of that, you're strangling your own life. You want certainty, you want guarantees. Guess what? Life doesn't hand out guarantees. It hands you opportunities, and those opportunities usually look like chaos. You've been so busy trying to predict the future that you've forgotten how to live right now. You think if you can just control every variable, you'll finally feel safe. But here's the truth. Safety is an illusion. Control is an illusion. The second you stop gripping the wheel so tight, you start to notice things. You see the doors you were too focused to notice. You hear the voices you used to ignore. You feel the freedom you've been chasing. It's not about giving up on your goals. Don't twist this. It's about trusting yourself enough to let go of micro-managing every outcome. Because the truth is, the best things in life don't happen when you force them. They happen when you're aligned, when you're prepared, and when you let the moment breathe. You'll never outthink life. But you can flow with it. You can show up with everything you've got, give your best, and then let the rest play out. And when you finally give up the illusion of control, that's when you start living. That's when life gets real, and that's when you realize it's not about controlling the journey. It's about owning yourself on the journey. Trying to control everything limits your ability to live fully. When you hold on too tight to every detail, you stop yourself from experiencing the flow of life. You become so focused on forcing outcomes that you miss the beauty of what's happening right now. Life is not meant to be a straight line you design from start to finish. It's a journey filled with unexpected turns, detours, and surprises. When you try to control every moment, you're not just planning your path, you're choking it. Opportunities pass by because you're too busy looking at the plan you made in your head. You become rigid, unable to adapt when life hands you something different, and sometimes that something different is exactly what you needed to grow, but you'll never see it if you're obsessed with keeping things in your perfect little box. Control feels safe. It makes you believe you're in charge, but the truth is, control is an illusion. You can influence your actions. You can show up, work hard, and prepare, but you can't predict every outcome. You can't force the world to bend to your plan. When you stop trying to control every piece of the puzzle, you start to see the bigger picture. You notice opportunities you never planned for. You hear ideas you would have ignored before. You meet people you never would have crossed paths with if you stayed locked inside your comfort zone. Letting go of control doesn't mean you give up on your goals. It means you trust the process. It means you stop micro-managing life and start living it. You still put in the work, you still give everything you've got, but you allow space for life to do its part. Some of the most beautiful moments happen when you least expect them. Some of the most important lessons come from situations you didn't plan. And some of the best opportunities arrive disguised as challenges. When you let go, you stop resisting what is. You start to adapt, grow, and respond in real time. You feel lighter. You become open to change. You begin to live with curiosity instead of fear, because you're no longer wasting your energy trying to force what can't be forced. And in that space, life opens up. It becomes less about control and more about connection. Less about certainty and more about courage, and that is when you truly begin to live fully. Life offers opportunities, not guarantees. Every day, doors open in ways you never expect. Some are small, subtle chances that could change the course of your life if you take them. Others are big, obvious moments that seem too risky to touch. But here's the truth. None of them come with a promise. There's no fine print that says you will succeed if you try. There's no safety net that ensures everything will go exactly as you imagine. Opportunities are invitations, not contracts. They ask you to step forward without knowing how it will end. They challenge you to trust yourself in the face of uncertainty. The world will never hand you a written guarantee of success. It will hand you moments where you can choose to act or choose to stay the same. Opportunities are fragile. They don't wait forever. If you hesitate too long, they slip away, and sometimes they never come back. That's why fear is the biggest thief of opportunity. It convinces you to wait until the right time. It tells you to gather more information, prepare more, or think about it just a little longer, but the right time rarely exists. Most of the time, the opportunity is the signal that it's time to move. You don't need guarantees to take action. You need the courage to try, knowing there's a chance you might fail. Because even if you fail, you gain something more valuable than the guarantee you were hoping for. You gain experience, you gain wisdom, you gain the confidence to take the next opportunity when it comes. Opportunities are the building blocks of growth. They stretch you. They force you to think differently, act differently, and believe differently. But only if you take them. You can spend your whole life waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives, or you can step into the unknown when the door cracks open. You can trust that even if it's not a guarantee, it's a chance worth taking. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They acted without a guarantee. They understood that life's best rewards are hidden behind risks. They didn't wait for certainty. They created results through action. Because opportunities multiply when you use them. The more you take, the more you find. The more you hesitate, the more they disappear. Life will keep giving you chances, but it's up to you to take them before they fade. Obsession with control blinds you to the present moment. When your mind is always focused on what's next, you stop noticing what's right in front of you. You become trapped in a cycle of planning, predicting, and adjusting, trying to make life fit perfectly into your expectations. Every thought becomes about what could go wrong and how you can stop it. Every action becomes about managing outcomes instead of experiencing them. The present moment becomes nothing more than a stepping stone to the next thing. You stop hearing the conversations around you. You stop feeling the small joys that happen every day. You stop appreciating the people you have, the progress you've made, and the moments you're living. You're physically there, but mentally somewhere else, lost in a future that hasn't even happened. The more you try to control everything, the more you lose touch with the only time that's real, now. Life isn't lived in the past or the future. It's lived in this second, in this breath, in this heartbeat. But control pulls you out of it. It makes you chase perfection instead of presence. And in that chase, you miss the very things that make life worth living. You miss the laughter, you miss the quiet, you miss the opportunities that come disguised as small, ordinary moments. When you're obsessed with control, every moment feels like a problem to solve instead of a gift to experience. You treat life like a checklist, marking things off but never truly living them. Even when something good happens, your mind is already racing to the next move. You never give yourself permission to just be. And here's the thing, you can never fully control life. No matter how much you plan, things will happen that you didn't see coming. When you cling too tightly, those moments feel like threats instead of possibilities. But when you loosen your grip, they become part of the journey. They become opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. The present moment is where life unfolds. It's where you make memories. It's where you feel happiness, love, and meaning. But you can't see any of it if you're too busy trying to control what hasn't even happened yet. Let go of the obsession. Look around you. Feel the ground under your feet, the air in your lungs, the people by your side. That's life, and if you miss it, you don't get it back. Safety and control are illusions. We grow up believing that if we plan enough, prepare enough, and protect ourselves enough, we can avoid pain. We tell ourselves that if we just keep everything under control, nothing will go wrong. But the truth is, no matter how much you try to control life, there will always be uncertainty. There will always be moments you didn't plan for, problems you didn't see coming, and changes you can't stop. Control feels real because it gives you a sense of security. It makes you believe you're the one holding all the strings. But deep down, you know you can't control the weather, the economy, other people's choices, or the twists of fate. You can influence your actions, you can prepare for challenges, you can do your best every single day, but you cannot control the outcome every time. Safety works the same way. We think that if we stay in our comfort zone, we'll be protected from failure, disappointment, or loss. But staying safe often costs more than taking risks. It costs you growth, it costs you opportunities, it costs you the experiences that make life rich and meaningful. The truth is, safety is temporary at best. The job you think will always be there can disappear. The relationships you think will never change can shift overnight. The stability you count on can vanish without warning. The more you chase safety, the smaller your world becomes. You start avoiding challenges because they feel dangerous. You stop taking chances because they might not work out. And in trying to protect yourself from uncertainty, you end up protecting yourself from living. Both safety and control are comforting illusions, nice to believe in but impossible to hold on to. The moment you accept that, something changes. You stop wasting your energy trying to control every little thing. You stop avoiding life in the name of staying safe. You start focusing on what you can actually do. Show up, give your best, adapt, and keep moving forward. You begin to understand that real security comes from your ability to handle uncertainty, not from avoiding it. And real strength comes from trusting yourself in situations you can't control. The world will always be unpredictable. Life will always surprise you. And the sooner you stop clinging to the illusion of safety and control, the sooner you start truly living. Letting go reveals opportunities you couldn't see before. When you hold on too tightly to a plan, a goal, or an expectation, your vision becomes narrow. You only see what fits inside the box you've built in your mind. Everything else gets ignored, even if it could change your life. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control how everything happens. It means opening yourself to possibilities you never considered. When you stop forcing things to go a certain way, you start noticing the paths you didn't even know were there. You start hearing the ideas that once felt irrelevant. You start meeting people who bring value in ways you never expected. It's like lifting a fog from your vision. The opportunities were always there. You just couldn't see them while you were clinging to the old plan. Sometimes the very thing you're holding on to is the thing blocking you from what you truly want. A job you're afraid to leave, a relationship you know is no longer right for you, a dream that doesn't fit the person you've become. The tighter you hold on, the more you close yourself off to what could be better. When you finally let go, you create space for something new to enter. You give life room to surprise you. You give yourself permission to explore without being chained to one outcome. Opportunities often hide behind endings. The loss of one thing can make room for something greater, but you can't see that if you're too focused on what you think you're losing. Letting go allows you to shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. You begin to see that there isn't just one path to success, one chance at happiness, or one way to live your life. There are countless possibilities waiting, but you have to make room for them, and that room only appears when you release the grip on what's no longer serving you. Sometimes the universe has a bigger plan than the one you're clinging to, but you won't find it until you stop trying to force your own version of how things should be. When you let go, you begin to move with life instead of against it. You notice opportunities in places you never thought to look. You take chances that once felt too risky, and more often than not, those chances lead you exactly where you needed to be. Giving up control is not giving up on goals, it's trusting the process. You can still want something with all your heart without needing to force every step along the way. You can still work hard, stay committed, and give everything you have while allowing room for life to unfold. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you quit. It doesn't mean you sit back and wait for things to magically happen. It means you focus on what you can do today and trust that the rest will fall into place in its own time. Control comes from fear. Fear that if you don't manage every detail, everything will fall apart. But the truth is, life rarely moves in a straight line. No matter how much you try to plan, there will be twists, setbacks, and unexpected turns. If you try to control all of it, you'll only exhaust yourself. And in that exhaustion, you risk losing the passion that drives you toward your goals. When you release control, you create space for the process to work. You allow opportunities to appear that you couldn't have planned for. You allow solutions to emerge that you would have missed if you were fixated on one rigid path. Trusting the process means believing that your consistent effort will pay off, even if it doesn't happen exactly how or when you expect. It means understanding that delays are not denials, that detours can lead to better destinations. That every challenge you face might be shaping you for the moment you've been working toward. When you give up control, you become more adaptable. You stop fighting every change and start flowing with it. You learn to adjust your strategy without abandoning your vision. You keep your eyes on the goal, but stay open to the different ways of reaching it. Sometimes the process knows better than your plan. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually preparation. Sometimes what feels like the wrong turn is the very thing that leads you to where you need to be. You don't have to control every step to succeed. You just have to show up, give your best, and keep moving forward. Trusting the process isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to keep going without the guarantee of knowing exactly how it will end. It's the discipline to focus on your effort instead of obsessing over the outcome. And it's the faith that, in time, the process will take you exactly where you're meant to go. The best things in life happen without force. You can plan, you can prepare, you can work hard, but you can't force the magic to happen. Some moments unfold naturally in their own time, and no amount of pushing or controlling can make them arrive sooner. When you force things, you create resistance, you drain your energy, you lose sight of the joy in the process because you're so focused on the result. Forcing something into existence often means bending it into a shape it was never meant to take. And even if you succeed, it rarely feels the way you hoped. The truth is, the most beautiful moments in life often come when you least expect them. A conversation that changes your perspective, an opportunity that shows up when you're not even looking, a breakthrough that comes after you've finally stopped obsessing over the problem. When you stop forcing, you allow things to align naturally. You give space for timing to work in your favor. You let the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments find their way to you. This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you show up fully, do your best, and then let go of the need to control the outcome. It's about planting seeds, not yanking them out of the ground to see if they've grown yet. Forcing is a sign of fear. Fear that if you don't make it happen, it never will. But trust is the opposite of force. Trust says, I've done my part, and now I'm letting things unfold. Think about the happiest moments of your life. Chances are, many of them weren't planned down to the last detail. They just happened. They flowed naturally. They came together in ways you couldn't have scripted. And that's why they felt so powerful. Because they were real, not manufactured. Life has a rhythm. When you move with it instead of against it, you find yourself in the right place at the right time more often than not. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop pushing and start receiving. And you realize that some of the best things in life are born out of patience, presence, and openness, not force. So give your all, work with passion, but know when to step back and let life breathe. Because sometimes the very thing you're chasing will only arrive when you stop chasing it. Flowing with life is more effective than micromanaging it. You can spend every waking hour trying to control every detail, but life will always have a way of surprising you. Plans change, people change, circumstances change, and the harder you try to micromanage every step, the more frustrated you become when things don't go exactly as planned. Micromanaging life is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. You drain your energy on things you can't control and miss the opportunities that come from simply being open. Flowing with life doesn't mean drifting aimlessly. It means knowing where you want to go, but staying flexible in how you get there. It means adapting to what's in front of you instead of fighting against it. When you flow with life, you work asterisk with asterisk the current instead of against it. You use what's happening as momentum instead of trying to force your own direction. You start to see challenges as part of the journey rather than as roadblocks. You become more creative because you're not stuck in one rigid way of thinking. You become more resilient because change no longer feels like a threat, it feels like part of the process. Micromanaging comes from fear, fear of failure, fear of losing control, fear of the unknown. But when you choose to flow, you replace that fear with trust, trust in yourself, trust in your ability to adapt. Trust that even if the path looks different than you imagined, you can still reach your destination. Life is unpredictable, but that unpredictability can work in your favor if you're willing to work with it. The unexpected can open doors you never knew existed. It can bring people, lessons, and opportunities that you couldn't have planned for in a lifetime. When you flow with life, you stop resisting what is and start moving with it. You conserve your energy for what truly matters. You focus on the actions you can take rather than stressing about everything outside your control. You begin to see that progress doesn't always come from rigid structure. It often comes from flexibility and openness. Flow isn't passive, it's intentional movement. It's about showing up, doing your best, and adjusting along the way. It's about staying present instead of obsessing over every possible future outcome. When you stop micromanaging life and start flowing with it, you experience more ease, more growth, and more unexpected wins. Success comes from preparation, presence, and adaptability. Preparation lays the foundation. It's the work you do when no one is watching. It's the discipline to study, to train, to practice, to refine your skills until they become second nature. Without preparation, you're relying on luck, and luck is never a reliable strategy. Preparation is what allows you to step into an opportunity with confidence. It's what gives you the edge when the pressure is high and the stakes are real. But preparation alone isn't enough. You also need presence. Presence is the ability to be fully engaged in the moment you're in. It's putting your focus on what's happening right now instead of being distracted by what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Presence keeps you sharp. It allows you to read the room, to sense opportunities, and to react with clarity. When you're present, you don't miss the subtle signs that could change everything. You're able to listen, to connect, and to respond in real time. And then there's adaptability. Adaptability is the skill that keeps you moving forward when the plan falls apart. It's knowing how to adjust without losing your direction. Life will throw you curveballs. Things will change without warning. No matter how much you prepare, no matter how present you are, there will be moments when you have to pivot. Adaptability is what turns those moments into opportunities instead of setbacks. It's the ability to stay calm under pressure and find a new way forward. It's the courage to try something different when the old way isn't working. When preparation, presence, and adaptability come together, you become unstoppable. You're ready for the opportunities you've been working toward. You're able to seize them in the moment without hesitation, and you're able to navigate the challenges that come with them. Preparation builds your strength. Presence sharpens your focus. Adaptability keeps you moving. Without one of them, you're limited. With all three, you can handle almost anything life puts in front of you. That's how success is built, not just by knowing what you want, but by being ready, aware, and flexible enough to make it happen. True freedom starts when you stop gripping the wheel so tightly. You can spend your whole life trying to steer every moment, every decision, every outcome. You can keep both hands locked, knuckles white, eyes fixed, terrified of what might happen if you let go even a little. But the harder you grip, the more tense you become, and the more tense you become, the less you actually enjoy the ride. Life isn't meant to be driven in fear. It's meant to be experienced with awareness, trust, and openness. When you hold on too tightly, you try to control things you were never meant to control. You try to predict the future, manage every variable, and avoid every possible mistake. But in that constant control, you lose spontaneity, you lose the joy of discovery, you lose the magic of moments that happen without warning. True freedom is not about reckless abandon. It's about trusting yourself enough to loosen your grip. It's about knowing that even if the road twists or turns, you have what it takes to navigate it. When you stop gripping so tightly, you start noticing the scenery you've been speeding past. You hear the music in the background. You see the opportunities along the roadside. You start to realize that life isn't just about the destination. It's also about everything in between. The wheel is still in your hands, but it's not a weapon against uncertainty anymore. It becomes a guide, not a lifeline. When you loosen your grip, you stop fighting the road and start moving with it. You learn to adapt when conditions change. You allow space for detours that might lead somewhere better. You stop oversteering when things don't go exactly as planned. This is where freedom lies, in the balance between control and surrender. It's in trusting that you can handle whatever comes without needing to dominate every moment. It's in letting life breathe instead of suffocating it with fear. And the moment you do this, something shifts. Your body relaxes. Your mind clears. Your vision expands. You become more creative, more curious, more alive. Because you're no longer just driving, you're living. You're no longer chained to the fear of what might happen. You're open to the possibilities of what could happen. That's the power of loosening your grip. That's the beginning of true freedom. So let the road take you where it's meant to go. Keep your hands steady, your heart open, and your eyes on the possibilities ahead. You don't need to strangle life to live it. You just need to trust yourself enough to loosen your grip and let the journey become everything it was meant to be.